Hey folks, Damon at Black Warrior Lures, and I'm about to make up another batch of bobbers. Um, I've been making some bobbers, been really obsessed with these bobbers here lately, these wine cork bobbers, and made some catfish bobbers here, 18 inches long, as you can see the length of it here, and just almost twice as long. The reason I like this bobber is because you got this long shaft, hardwood, but it's not very buoyant. Highly buoyant cork, and when you cast it, it just shoots like an arrow. The long one casts very well. And I have these on eBay, but I decided I'm going to try some shorter ones, about half that length, because it's getting close to time for the autumn. We're winding down toward the end of the summer, maybe another month and a half of summer left or whatever, at least down around these parts, maybe 2 months left, because we have an unusually long summer in the south. But I'm going to say, well, look, why don't we make them, instead of 18 inches long, let's make some that's 9 inches long, about half that long, as you can see. Again, use a cork that's somewhat similar. It's a fairly similar cork. The primary difference is that the distance here is longer, shorter here, longer pattern there, and then just a shorter shaft. But the body is exactly the same as the body here. And the idea is that you rig these slip bobber style, and they sit up. But I just kind of wanted to show you how you've seen me do these things before. I use a 2-part epoxy, and this is from my boat building days. I have a bunch of epoxy left over, and I think, my goodness, why not do it? This is a 2-part epoxy. You mix it 1 part. You mix 1 part resin, 1 part hardener. And I'm going to mix up 2 drams of resin. And these little cups here, measuring cups, you can get them at boat building places, like Duckworth's, I think it's Duckworks or Duckworths, or whatever the name of that place is, I forget it, online. You can buy them by the 100. And you mix in 1 part hardener. So 2 parts resin, 1 part hardener. A little bit too much there, but in fact I do. Yeah. We're going to have to mix it up a little bit more here. There we go, something like that. You generally want to mix this very accurately, 2-to-1 ratio. You don't have to mix it for very long because it's warm. I'd recommend you get a slow curing epoxy for this. Fast curing is too fast. Medium curing, it works well in the middle of the winter, but kind of like now where it's just really warm, even the medium curing stuff cures pretty fast. And so what I'll do is I'll take it here. The main thing is you need some gloves. Dad used to work with epoxy all the time, making clocks and stuff. So you grease up that shaft there, and you just pull that back over it. And with this particular model, with the 9-inch model that I use for brim fishing, you can, so it's a lot of sort of hand work like this. And the main purpose of the initial epoxy on this thing is just to get it to absorb into the wood. And you're binding these threads right along to it. The threads are going to absorb that epoxy. The wood's going to absorb the epoxy. The cork is going to absorb the epoxy, and it's going to fill in a lot of those threads and a lot of those. Get it down there in the holes there, and it's just going to absorb. So once it absorbs, guess what? You want to. It'll make one nice hard unit. So it takes you got all these separate materials that are in this thing. And make sure it's about ½ inch or so out of the cork there. We're going to drip some down in the hole. Depending on how the cork itself is designed, you may end up with more or less material that's been routed out of it with the drill. But that's essentially how I do this. That first initial coat just the whole idea is just to get the whole thing saturated in epoxy, and you let that cure. This particular epoxy will cure in, you'll be able to work it overnight. After it's been sitting overnight, you can work it pretty easily. Another trick is to get it in there like that. But anyway, these are sensitive floats. I love fishing with them. They cast well. They're sensitive. They're just a beauty to work with on the water, in the rod and reel. Get that there, push it back, and just let it sit, and it'll just cure on out. Sometimes you get it in the eye there. You just have to work with that. But anyway, it's fun to make these. I guess the main reason I started making these bobbers was because my dad used to make bobbers, but he made his bobbers out of he would just use cedar or poplar, and he would sit down and whittle out these corks and bobbers just out of old kind of cigar style floats, big ones too, and he loved, but they were way more pointed at the ends, and they were good sensitive floats. The problem was that he just never found a way to attach it to the line very well. He would use electric conduit and stuff like that, the insulation from electric wiring and things like that, and it just never really worked all that well, to be honest with you. But that was before we knew anything about slip floats, slip bobbers, and all that kind of thing. And so, I guess that's the main reason why I make these bobbers, because I'm just really, trying to perfect my dad's design or some of the concepts. Now, these are not the way his bobbers look. These are my own. But they're inspired by how much time he spent trying to really get those bobbers working well, but just didn't have the right technique or whatever to do it with. But anyway, these are for sale over on the eBay page. Check them out. If it's already starting to set off on me, doesn't take long. And the drying rack is nothing more than the staircase of my humble abode. Just like that. Just let them sit down here and cure in the sun. The heat will get it cured fast. That's all I do. Let it sit out here for a day, and then take it, put another coat, and then put about 2 coats on there, 3 coats sometimes, just depends. And then you guys will see the ad on eBay. That's kind of how it works. Gonna try to start getting some more video of me out in the water with these things. I love fishing with these things. But it's simple technology, and it works. So as you can see the difference in the length of the Catfish bobbers versus the other bobber. And there we go. Check out the eBay page, folks. Seriously, if you want to put a bid, I got some things going out tonight, and a couple of auctions ending tonight, and so give these bobbers a try. They're sensitive. They cast well. They help you detect lighter bites, things like that. Because sometimes fish just bite light, and you need something that's got enough buoyancy, yet sensitive enough, yet yet cast long enough to get what you're to really detect the bite. So check these out and place a bid, because I've got some auctions ending actually tonight, and so if you've been wanting to place a bid, get it on there before the auctions end on the eBay, and that way you won't miss out. Other than that, I will talk to you guys later. See ya.